To today's tutorial. Today we're going to be looking at integrating text into our portrait images. Please note you can download this start image from the description box below this video. Please also note that these videos are designed with the beginner in mind. So I try to make them so that you can follow along, and at the end of the tutorial you will have been able to produce some high quality looking artwork. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to reset my Photoshop so yours and mine look exactly the same. So the first thing I'm going to do is come up to Window, click Window, and under Workspace I'm going to go to Reset Essentials. Then under the Move tool here, these four arrows, I'm going to right click this and I'm going to reset all tools, and then I'm going to hit OK to that. Now this ensures that your Photoshop looks the exact same as mine. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to press T for text, and when you do that you'll notice that your cursor changes from this arrow to this cursor which is expecting a text. Now what I want to do before I start writing any text is I want to ensure that the properties of my text are all correct. So I'm going to click this down here and I'm going to go and choose a really fat font like this one called Impact down here. I'm then going to note that size 12 point is way too small, so I'm going to click in there and I'm going to change it to 600 points, and then under sharp I'm just going to ensure that it's still sharp. Then I go ahead and click anywhere in my text, in my image, and you can see some sample text appear. Now I'm going to go, just hold on Shift and press P to create a capital P like that. Now I'm happy with my P, so I'm going to click out of it and then I click back into my layer here. And now I want to transform the T by holding Command and T to transform. I'm going to grab a corner and I'm going to increase the size of my T so it's very large in the page. And I want to make sure that I can see firstly the entire letter, but also that some of the face is hidden by the P here. I'm happy with the size, so I'm going to apply the transform by hitting this tick here. Once I've done that, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a very small stroke around the edge of this P. So in order to do that, I simply double click in this white space here, and then I come down to stroke. I make sure I click stroke so it becomes my active layer, and I make sure that there's a tick on it. You want to make sure that your color you've chosen is white, and then you want to go for just a few pixels, 2 or 3 pixels will be about right in this instance, and then when you're happy with that, you want to hit OK. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to my background layer, I'm going to click my background layer and I'm going to duplicate it by going Command and J to duplicate. Now what I need to do is I need to get the outline of this P. So to avoid any confusion, I'm going to hide all of my layers and I'm just going to go up to my text layer. I'm going to click in it to make sure that it's highlighted and it is light gray, and then I'm going to make the selection of this P. And in order to do that, I get my selection tool up here. I right click and I go Magic Wand tool. Then I come in here and I just click anywhere in the P, and you'll notice that what happens is I get my marching ants around the edge. Now I don't need that layer anymore. I need to come down to this layer, so I'm going to click this layer and make this layer visible as well as my active layer. I'm then going to hide my upper layer because I don't need that layer anymore. It's on this layer that I want to initiate my layer mask by coming down and clicking a layer mask down here. And now we have hidden obviously most of the rest of the body by using a layer mask. Now to make sure there's no confusion, I'm going to hide that layer. I'm going to click into my background layer to make it my active layer, and I'm going to make it visible. And now what I want to do is I want to select the person's body. So in order to do that, you right click on the selection layer and you go Object Selection tool. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up to Select Subject, and Photoshop will very cleverly select the entire subject for me. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide that layer. I'm going to come up to my layer with the P layer mask on it, and I'm going to make that layer visible, and then I'm going to make sure that it is my active layer and it is light gray. And it's on this layer I need to make sure I'm not in the picture but in the layer mask. So you can see at the moment there's some white squares around the picture. I need to click into the layer mask to make sure the white squares are around the layer mask. And now what I want to do is I want to get my shortcut for brush, which is B for brush. And at the moment I can't see my brush at all, but I'm using my square brackets to make my brush bigger and smaller. Alternatively, you can hold down the Control and Option. When I hold down Control and Option together and then click with my mouse and go left and right, it makes my brush bigger and smaller. When I go up and down, it makes my brush harder and softer. So in this instance, I want a hard brush, which is of medium size, around about there. Now what I want to do is, in this layer mask, I want to brush in the remainder of the face. So I go ahead and I just brush it there, and my brushing is working because my foreground color is white and I'm brushing white into my layer mask here, so the remainder of his face is coming out. Now I no longer need these marching ants, so I'm going to deselect them by going Command and D. So here we've got it's standing off the image quite nice, off the page quite nicely. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my P layer visible by hitting the eyeball, but at the moment it's on top of the man. So what I want to do is I want to grab my P layer and I want to drag it to below the man. Okay, so the next step is to create a background layer. Now before I do that, I'm going to select colors to make my background layer which match the colors in this image here. So at the moment my foreground color is black, so I'm going to click in the black layer and then I'm going to choose one of the blue from the suit here. I'm going to click that and then I'm going to hit OK to that. So now my foreground color has gone blue. My background color is pure white. I don't want it pure white. I'm just going to go ahead and click that, and then I'm going to select maybe a white from his shirt, somewhere like that, and then I'm going to hit OK. Now what I want to do is I want to go ahead and make the background layer. So I come to my adjustment layer, I click that, and then I come to gradient, and then it gives me a whole bunch of options. So under gradient here, you want to drop this down and make sure that you go to the Basics tab, and it will show you your foreground color to your background color, which my instance is gray to white. So I want to go ahead and click that, and that should make a nice light color at the top going down to a nice dark gray down here. I'm happy with that, so I'm going to OK to apply that layer. Now the last thing we want to do is we want to have some text along the bottom here. So that's very simple. The color that I'm going to use for my ink is going to remain the same, this dark gray here. So I'm not going to adjust that color. I'm just going to press T for text to initiate my text tool, and I'm going to go ahead and click down here and start typing. So I'm just going to type mindset. And that's looking okay at the moment, but what we need to do is on the mindset layer, I'm going to click in here. So my mindset layer is my active layer. I want to get my move tool and I want to move it so it's more appropriately positioned on the page. Now what I'd like to do is I'd like it to stand off the page a little bit more. So I'm going to double click into my mindset layer, and then I'm going to come down here, and in the layer styles, I'm going to choose the stroke layer style, and it will pick up the layer style we used before. In this case it was 3 pixels. I'm going to reduce that just a little bit down to 2 pixels, and I'm going to hit OK to that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to again click into my mindset layer, Command and J to duplicate, and now I've got 2 of these layers. I'm going to get my move tool and move my second layer down a bit, and then what I need to do is I need to double click into the T part of my active layer, and 600 pixels is 600 points is way too big, so I'm going to reduce this down to 200 and press enter. And now I'm going to change that mindset to something else. So again, double click into the T part of this, not into this empty part, into the T part here, so that it is my text is active. And type in mindset is everything. So I'm kind of liking that, but I need to change the position of this. So under the is everything active layer, I'm going to get my move tool and move it so perhaps it is in line with the end of my texture. As always, if you found this video useful, please could I ask you to give it the thumbs up. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.